The Walking Dead All-Out War miniatures game allows you to recreate the struggle for survival in a lawless new world. Groups of survivors must face each other in a desperate fight for resources, all the while trying not to attract the attention of roaming packs of walkers. The game is best played with two players, taking the role of rival survivor groups, although it can be played solo due to the innovative event system that directs the walkers around the board. The aim of the game is to collect the meager resources from the barren landscape before anyone else does, or before your group is devoured. Time is of the essence, as the rising threat level will overwhelm you unless you can keep it under control. The Walking Dead All-Out War miniatures game comes with 5 types of cards: survivor cards, the Walker reference card, equipment cards, supply cards, and event cards. We will go over 4 of these cards now. Event cards we will cover later. Each of the cards has several values and items necessary to play the game. We will review each card so you'll have a good understanding of how they will work in-game. As you can see, not all values are on each type of card. Follow along by finding the number on each card as the explanation is given. Name. Each card will have a name to identify it. Some cards will also have a subtitle used to differentiate alternate versions of a character from different points in the story. Type. This is a keyword that will interact with certain other rules used in the game. Faction symbol. This symbol denotes which faction the survivor belongs to. Points value. Survivors, walkers, and equipment are all assigned a points value representing their comparative worth in a fight. These values are used at the start of the game to create evenly matched groups of survivors. Characteristics. All survivors possess 4 key characteristics or values: melee, shoot, defense, and nerve. Melee, shoot, and defense are all expressed as a number of colored dice symbols. Nerve is expressed as either low, medium, or high, which determines how much danger a character can be in before they panic. Health. The health star represents how tough a character is and varies from survivor to survivor. Each number represents a single point of health, and this can be depleted during a game. It is tracked using a health counter. At the start of the game, place a health counter over the highest number on the track, green side up. Note that walkers do not have a health store. They only have a single health point and are killed after taking a single point of damage. Of course, if you don't hit them in the head. Being killed doesn't stop them for long. Keywords. Some items will have keywords listed in bold on their cards. Special rules. This section will detail any additional qualities or special actions that may apply to this character or item. In addition, some items can cause noise or mayhem when used. Leader ability. Although any model can lead your group of survivors, some are particularly well suited to the task. If a model has a leader ability, it is detailed in its own box on the survivor card. A leader ability can only be used when the model is nominated as your group's leader, otherwise it is ignored. Item slots. Survivors are able to carry equipment cards to give them benefits in a game, and may place 1 item in each slot marked around the edge of their survivor card. There are 2 slots for their hands, and they may carry a single card of a ranged weapon, melee weapon, or special item type in each. There are also 2 slots for armor, one for the survivor's head and one for their body. Each of these slots may contain 1 item of appropriate type, either armor head or armor body. Finally, each survivor has a pack representing their pockets, backpack, bandolier, etc. These vary in size from 1 to 3 cards and may be used to store any item type. An equipment card that is in hand, head, or body slot is considered to be equipped. Cards with the weapon or armor types need to be equipped before using them. Cards with a special item do not need to be equipped in order to use them and may be used while in a pack slot. Items cannot be swapped between slots without using a swap items action. The game includes various different colored dice, and these will be referenced throughout the rulebook and the cards using these symbols: red die, white die, blue die, black action die, yellow panic die. Each of these symbols represents 1 die that is rolled when a character makes an action or a rule is applied. For example, Rick Grimes has a shoot characteristic of 1 blue die, and the 38 revolver equipment card adds 1 white die. So if Rick made a shoot action with this weapon, the player would roll 1 blue die and 1 white die. The red, white, and blue dice all have a number of gunshot symbols on their faces and represent how powerful a dice roll is. Each symbol represents 1 success, and the successes for all the dice rolled at any one time are totaled to give a final score. These symbols are also used to generate numbers such as the number of walkers to move. The red, white, and blue dice have an exclamation symbol on some of their faces. These signify critical successes. The black action die has 3 blank faces and 3 faces marked with a sheriff badge. This die has many purposes throughout the rules, sometimes to randomize between 2 equal outcomes, other times the sheriff badge indicates a particular effect. Each use of the die will be described individually in the rules. Finally, the panic die is used to determine the outcome when a character panics. From from running away to screaming in terror to going berserk. Measuring. All distances in the game, from moving figures, measuring weapon ranges, and determining who can hear any noises made by your survivor, are noted in inches. The game contains a double-sided ruler with all the common measurements marked for you. It is permitted, indeed often essential, to measure distances at any time to check the range to a target, to avoid causing mayhem, or simply to plan your model's possible moves. With the essential components introduced, it's time to get into the rules of the game. Don't worry about everything else for now. Each item will be explained as it comes up. Sometimes the best way to survive is to stay quiet. Unfortunately, many essential actions are loud, bright, or otherwise indiscreet, and the commotion that they create attracts walkers. There are two levels of commotion, noise and mayhem. These will be caused by various events and actions taken by the survivors. It is important to understand the implications of these actions before deciding what your survivors will do. The rules for noise and mayhem are resolved immediately after fully resolving the action that caused them, before the model performs any further actions. Cards that cause noise or mayhem will look like this. When noise is caused, the closest eligible walker at least partially within 10 inches of the source of the noise immediately moves in a straight line directly towards it. If this move brings them into base contact with a survivor, they are engaged in melee. In this way, walkers are pulled around the gaming area towards any commotion and can move several times in a turn. When mayhem is caused, they advance the threat level by 1 point. Then, all eligible walkers that are at least partially within 10 inches of the source of the mayhem immediately move in a straight line directly towards it. Again, if the movement brings them into base contact with a survivor, they will become engaged in melee. Threat is a key factor in the Walking Dead All-Out War, representing the mounting tension and danger of fighting in walker-infested environments. The threat tracker is a way of physically representing this ever-increasing pressure. As it rises, the walkers become more dangerous, the survivors start to panic, and in most scenarios, when it reaches maximum, it's game over. As you play, you will see how important it is to manage the threat to your advantage. The threat tracker contains a track of numbered spaces 1 to 18. Each time the threat increases, the arrow is moved one space clockwise immediately. It can also be reduced by certain player actions. Typically, the threat level increases whenever mayhem is caused, such as when a gun is fired or when a booby trap explodes. Keep a careful record of the threat level, increasing or reducing it as instructed. The threat tracker is divided into 4 sections, all quiet, low, medium, and high. These sections are especially important as they correspond to survivors' nerve characteristics. When the threat level is higher than the survivor's nerve, that survivor is panicking and must roll the yellow panic die and apply the results before it can be activated. The panic die results are as follows. Flee. Perform a run action, moving the following distance in a straight line directly away from the nearest enemy, only turning to avoid scenery or other enemies. Take no further actions. Terrified. Only perform one action this turn. Quiet. Only take one action this turn, and it may not be an action that causes noise or mayhem. Scream. Perform the make noise action, then take one more action as normal, then advance the threat level by 1. And Berserk. Act normally and add 1 red combat die to melee attack rolls this turn. However, advance the threat level by 1. This will conclude the component overview of the Walking Dead All-Out War miniatures game. The next video will cover the turn sequence and the many actions both the survivors and zombies will take.